You're listening to the Truck Talk with Trivista podcast, brought to you by TrivistaCompanies.com, the ultimate source for all things trucking. I'm Anita Massey, Director of Marketing for Trivista Companies. Thanks for joining us today. Today our topic is servicing all makes. While it's true Trivista is an international truck dealership group, that doesn't mean we only work on international products. Each of our locations works on all makes, all brands, all models. It doesn't matter. If it rolls, one of Trivista's dealerships can fix it. Today we'll be joined by Chad Johnson, Vice President of Service and Engine Specialist for Trivista Companies. Chad is based out of our Altoona, Iowa, O'Halloran International dealership and has been with the company for 10 years. Chad started out as our VP of Fleet Maintenance Management, then moved to VP of Service for O'Halloran's. Chad is a subject matter expert in the field of engine and vehicle maintenance and has 35 years of truck maintenance experience. So Chad, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks, Anita. It's great to be here today.
I'm glad you're here. I'm really excited to get into today's topic, servicing all makes, and I thought we could start by talking about the various makes or brands that we service here at Trivista's dealerships. So I wondered if you could maybe name some of the top brands that we service that folks might recognize.
Beyond being an international dealership, we're also a Mitsubishi dealer in Louisville and an Isuzu dealer in Cherokee, Iowa. And we work on Max, Volvos, Freightliners, Kenworths, just about anything, even some off-the-wall brands that we've seen in our shops.
So each of our locations then are able to service all of those brands that you mentioned?
Yes.
So we've got, I think combined, we've got, over 160 service bays that can service all those different makes and models?
And over 120 trained and certified technicians in the 10 locations that we have. Okay,
awesome. So are there any brands that we can't service or won't service for any reason?
No, we're capable of working about anything. Ford Dodge even worked on a train locomotive here a few years ago, so we've seen a lot of variety there.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. Now, what about DOT inspections for all makes? Can we do something like that as well?
The annual vehicle inspection required by the Code of Federal Regulations is a universal inspection.
Okay, so each of our locations can.
Yes.
Got it. All right. So maybe you could talk a little bit about what our internal process is to ensure that our technicians are trained and familiar with each brand. Maybe talk about some of the certifications that our techs have to have in order to be able to service all those brands.
Many of our technicians are international certified. They're also Cummins certified. Some have been to some Eaton schools, and some other manufacturers have offered training. We don't shy away from training. So if we have an opportunity and we have people that can go, we're going to send them. Okay.
So you mentioned Cummins. Were Cummins authorized in each of our locations?
That is correct, yes.
So I guess, talking about continuing education and recertification training, then I guess we require our techs to stay certified and fresh. What's that process like here?
Navistar and Cummins both require a minimum number of technicians per location, and we strive to do more than that. So I think even a 5-person shop is required to have 2 Cummins and international certified people, but we would encourage all 5 to go through the training. Better to have too many than not enough.
Yeah, exactly. So is that, I'm kind of jumping the gun here a little bit, but as the training that we're talking about, is that why we do the tech rodeo every year?
It's just one of the reasons to do the tech rodeo, beyond the morale boost of it and showcasing the skills of our workforce and really putting them on the pedestal that they deserve to be on.
What about, you mentioned that Navistar and Cummins requires X number of techs to be certified. How does that play into the new relationship that we have entered into with Love's and their travel centers?
Love's will fall into the same requirement that we do as far as technicians per location that are certified. So, and they'll only be allowed to do more simple warranty repairs that take less than 3 hours to repair. So they'll have the same training that our people have relative to the repairs that they'll be authorized to do.
I see. Okay. I was wondering how that was going to work out. So if it's a really serious service issue, they're not going to be able to do it at the Love.
No, and we need that work to come to us and not through Love. So it's important that we get good diagnostics from the onboard computer and from what the driver's telling us they're seeing, and make that smart decision so we don't have to move the truck more than once. That's a painful thing. If you got it to Love's and figured out it was over their head and then we had to move it again, it's an additional cost, expense to tow it, and it just sets the customer back more time. So we prefer to be able to make that decision up front on what should come to our shops and what can be handled by Love's.
That's very interesting. So what about, I know we offer mobile emergency services to all of our customers whenever we possibly can. How does that all makes service apply there? I mean, if somebody called with a Freightliner or Kenworth, I mean, would we be able to service that in an emergency situation?
Right, and actually there's two different kinds of mobile repairs. There's the emergency that you talked about, and then there's scheduled repairs. We do PMs and things like that from mobile units as well. And we do both of those in our locations. So we can do the emergency repair, or we can also send a mobile truck out to do to service the brake job, the whatever needs done. Obviously, I don't want the mobile people out there doing an overhaul out in the elements, in the dust and the dirt and all of that. But most of your typical repairs can be done mobily as well.
So we keep our emergency mobile trucks pretty much stocked with universal parts?
Yes, and it's good to know before we leave what model they're going to work on, what make they're going to work on, so they can take the proper filters with them. And there's no way to have everything you need on the truck. And then we're good about having our parts people run parts to those people. So our service truck isn't bouncing back and forth for parts. A lot of times we can send one of our parts delivery people out with any part that we didn't anticipate needing when they left originally.
So how is warranty handled then when we're working on a brand other than international? How do we handle that internally?
As long as it's a Cummins engine under Cummins warranty, it doesn't matter to us what chassis it is in. We can do that warranty work, and we can file the warranty through Cummins. And there's an approval process that we go through to get that approved, so we don't make repairs that we're not going to be compensated for. Other warranty work, we would have to point them towards the manufacturer. If it's a Kenworth and it's a chassis issue, obviously we couldn't do that warranty work. We do have customers in some of our rural areas that if it's a small repair and it's warrantable, they will ask us to do it anyway because they don't want to waste a driver having a day taking a truck down and a truck back. For instance, it's 90 miles to the nearest other make dealership from Cherokee, Iowa. So we have a customer that may want us to make that $100 repair because it doesn't make sense to have a driver waste a day taking it back and forth. So we've done that, and we've done that in several of our locations where it just makes sense for the customer.
It's probably cheaper in the long run.
Absolutely, and the sophisticated customer gets that. Some are just adamant it's warranty. I should have but really, if you look at the dollars of it, it makes more sense to just get it done right there.
And then I guess on parts, and you mentioned some of the parts that we already stock, but I mean, if we don't have another OEM's part, what do we do then? How do we get that part in to fix the truck?
We have a lot of all makes and will fit parts with the Fleet-Right brand, but we also have a relationship with the other OEMs, and we'll buy parts from them the same way they buy parts from us. And so a lot of times we get those parts delivered right to us, or we go get them, and then we can use them either mobily or in our own shops.
So Chad, I'm wondering, within the Trivista family, is it true then that all of our dealership locations do offer all-make service in our dealerships?
Historically, it has not been that diverse. In some of the higher populated areas, trucks usually flow to their OEM. Me personally, I have been pushing, and in Trivista, we've been pushing the all makes direction. It allows us to diversify. It allows us to learn more about our competition. It allows us to be more competitive. A lot of our customers have multiple makes of vehicles. If we have a good relationship with them, we just will do all their work and just continue to build those relationships. And we've got the people that can definitely do it.
So then I guess that means that not all other competitive dealerships offer all makes. So that's a real differentiator for us.
Yes. And I would believe that to be true in most other OEMs, that they really do follow, it's got to have the right thing on the front of the hood. And I don't believe in that. I think it's what's behind that hood that's important, and we have the people that can take care of it.
I'm just curious, what's one of the craziest things you've ever seen pull into one of our garages?
Well, I mentioned the locomotive, and obviously we had to go to it. It couldn't come to us, but we've seen in some of my shops when I walk in, it's kind of amazing to look and go, what is that? And try and figure it out, whether it's a very large bale grinder that they use for feeding animals. It had a 15-liter Cummins engine on it, running the grinder part, and we were doing an overhaul on the Cummins engine on this monstrosity of a grinder. We have a fire truck manufacturer and a garbage packer manufacturer very close to our Carroll location, and any problem they have with any truck, they bring to us. So we see Kenworths, we see everything, and we see some really cool fire equipment and some pretty sophisticated garbage packers, if you will. There's more goes into that than you would probably think, but most of our shops only have 14-foot wide doors, and we had a high-wheeled sprayer in Fort Dodge last year, I believe it was, and we had a half-inch on either side to get it in the doors.
1/2 inch?
Yes, and then we had to work off ladders all day because it sits 8 feet off the ground for us to get to the engine. But yeah, we see a lot of bizarre stuff, and that's great. We like it. The techs actually like the variability. If you work in an automotive shop, you do the same thing all the time, whereas our people get to see this variety of equipment that comes in, and most of the technicians really like that variety. It makes the days go quicker, and they learn more that way by working on other stuff.
That is really great that our technicians enjoy the diversity of their work, and I could certainly see where they'd really learn a lot by being exposed to so many different types of engines and components. Well, Chad, I've really enjoyed hearing about how Trivista's dealerships service all makes, so I appreciate you shedding some light on this very important topic and giving this information to our customers. We hope you've enjoyed this edition of the Truck Talk with Trivista podcast. You can find more podcast talks or general information about Trivista Companies and its many dealerships at trivistacompanies.com. Until next time, be safe out there.